the non-volitional life of Sage Vasishtha. Vasishtha tells us in his Yoga Vasishtha, which is just like an ocean of truth. It's what I've used as model for my Avadhutam books, the creation of an ocean, appropriate, relevant for the modern age. Vasishtha tells us, or he constantly talks about this non-volitional life of the sage, that an enlightened being lives a non-volitional life. I'll read a couple of his quotes about it, and then I'll talk about it, and I'll share these quotes in the description as well as info about the book and the one I read and use. He says, "The enlightened one lives a non-volitional life, engaging himself spontaneously in appropriate action." That's what he says there. And then he also says, "Non-volitional action, non-action in action, is known as non-attachment or freedom." So what is non-volitional action? How can action be non-volitional? If we're going to do something, some volition has to be there, right? Well, I don't know. Look at the natural world. Look outside. Look at birds flying around in the sky. Look at the seasons changing. Leaves falling off trees, leaves growing on trees. Look at the ocean, look at the tides. Is this volitional? Is there someone there thinking, okay, tide needs to come in now, tide needs to go out? Someone there, tree is there thinking, oh, it's that time of year again, let's get rid of the leaves. Let's grow new buds or whatever. Is someone there panicking if these things don't happen at exactly the right time? These things are non-volitional actions, natural actions. What Vasishtha is telling us is that the actions of an enlightened being, the actions of a sage, are exactly the same as this. Right? And we already have this kind of action within us. I need to go toilet. Okay, I go toilet. Is this volitional? Is this something we get hung up about? Oh, I'm thirsty, I need to drink, I drink. So we, in our natural functioning, the natural functioning of this body, we also have this kind of non-volitional core to our action. But many of our actions in the world, what we do, what we say, is extremely volitional. There's an idea behind it, there's a concept behind it, there's a desire behind it, there's a fear behind it. And there's not a desire behind it in the sense of, oh, this is what I feel like doing, let me do it. There's usually a desire behind it which is like, I want this because it will fulfill me, because if this happens, then that will happen, and then I'll be happy. Same with our fears. Our fears are not just like, oh, I think I'll move away from that thing. It doesn't look good. Our fears also have a story to them. Our fears also have some kind of absolute element where we think that, oh, if this thing happens, we'll really be in trouble. We'll really be in the shit then, if this and that happens. So our desires and our fears are very serious. We have to get this thing, and we have to avoid this thing. So thus they become volitional. We have stories about all these things. We are emotional about all these things. All these things are incredibly meaningful to us. It's a big deal whether something happens or doesn't happen. The kind of activity Vasishtha is talking about, non-volitional action, is, let's say we take a person, we take a sage. They're still living, they're still in the world. They wake up in the morning and they say, okay, what needs to be done? What do I feel like doing? They do it. There's no story behind what they're doing. If they're going in a certain direction and life kind of blocks that direction, they'll see, okay, am I going to try and go through it, or I'll let it be? At the center of this non-volitional action of the sage is that they don't mind what happens. This is a great quote from Jiddu Krishnamurti as well. Maybe I'll make another video on this in this commentary series. He says, I don't mind what happens. This is at the centre of the functioning of the sage. He doesn't mind what happens. So he can move in a certain direction, and if things go a certain way, he's happy. If things go another way, he's happy. If things kind of stagnate or get blocked, he's also happy. It's this attitude that leads to this non-volitional life, because he knows it doesn't really matter what happens. He knows he's established himself beyond the world of changing conditions. So thus he lives extremely freely. He's living like a child almost. He's just going where he feels, doing what he needs to do, taking care of what he needs to take care of. And usually he's functioning on the basis of, okay, what comes to me naturally? What enters my life naturally? Inside himself, what comes to him naturally in terms of inspiration, what to do, what not to do? The things that leave his life naturally. Is he chasing after them? No. Why would he chase after them? He's the same whether something is there or something is not there. So this is the non-volitional life that Vasishtha is talking about, and he talks about consistently. What does he say about it again? The enlightened one lives a non-volitional life, engaging himself spontaneously in appropriate action. Meaning, his action, his activities, it's not curated, it's not fabricated, it's not planned out to achieve something that he thinks will finally make him happy and will finally fulfill him. He sees what needs to be done and he does it. And this is not just practical in terms of what he needs to live, it's also, he's going on inspiration. Okay, now I do this, now I do that. I feel like doing this, let me do it. But he's never bound or entangled with the results. He doesn't do something because he thinks that's going to lead to some better life for him. He does it because he feels like doing it. Finished, that's it. And then whatever result comes, he deals with that result when it comes. If it's a beautiful result, fantastic. If it's not a beautiful result, fantastic. He goes from there. This is non-volitional life. Okay, that's a sage. How can we live a non-volitional life? How can we get closer to this mode of living? I would say live as much in a way where you don't have to think. Do what's obvious to you. Do what's natural to you. What do you really like doing? What do you love? What's beautiful for you? What feels obvious? Right? Nobody needs to tell us to eat, do they? It's obvious. I believe a person's life should also be like this, that there should be these obvious elements of, oh yeah, I've got to do this because I love it. I've got to be with that person or those people because I love them. You know, for me, I believe in this very essential life. And an essential life, you can't argue with it. Why are you doing that? Because I love doing that. So I don't care whether anyone else is doing it. I'm doing it because I love it. It's vital to me. I have to do it. A lot of people, they don't live like they do things and they're not fully there. They don't fully know why they're there. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing. So they're doing things, but there's a story behind it. There's a conflict behind it. And what they're doing is not powerful because they're not fully there and they're not fully invested in what they're doing. So it becomes like a half-life. It becomes like a second-hand life, second-hand existence. So if we want to get closer to this non-volitional life, this beautiful life, almost like a bird flying that great Vasishtha is talking about, then for me this is where to start, and it's natural path in a nutshell, right? What comes easy to you? What comes effortlessly to you? What's natural to you? How are you spontaneously? And if you live like that, if you live more like that, life rewards you. Life gives you that joy. Life gives you that sense of ease, that sense of natural bliss, right? This is how to do it. This is not abstract. If spirituality is abstract, it's not spirituality. Spirituality is life. Right, so that's my thoughts on this thing.